Across the physical world, nature exhibits a recurring tendency toward order. Chaotic matter often organizes into stable, flowing lattice structures without external guidance. In neuroscience, researchers have spent decades mapping cross-frequency coupling. They've observed separate networks of neurons that entrain to one another, locking their separate oscillations into shared rhythms to coordinate the brain's activity. Physicists see the same signature in quantum condensates and the propagation of gravitational waves. They document mode locking, specific instances where competing wavefronts settle into structured resonant agreements rather than collapsing into noise. In ecology, biologists have mapped perfectly partitioned acoustic soundscapes in dense forests. Species inhabit specific frequency bands that correspond to mathematical intervals, ensuring their signals remain legible in a crowded environment. These researchers are all describing the same phenomenon, stability through proportional relation. But because they work in isolation, the deeper pattern remains unnamed. This lack of communication is a result of disciplinary dispersion. A neuroscientist says entrainment, a physicist says resonance, and an ecologist says partitioning. They use different vocabularies to describe the same underlying mathematics, leaving the broader significance invisible. Harmonic information theory, or HIT, was built to bridge these borders. It provides a shared framework to coordinate these scattered findings into a single field of inquiry. HIT defines harmony as a physical constraint of the universe. It is a set of specific rules that dictate how physical systems successfully couple together to maintain coherence. In this framework, harmony is the architecture of information itself. Traditional information theory focuses on isolated bits, ones and zeros traveling through a channel. But HIT argues for relational information, where the organization between interacting processes determines the system's stability. Every system survives by anticipating its environment. In this context, consonance is a state of dynamic physical stability, a point where interacting parts find a low-conflict way to coexist. Simple harmonic ratios act as physical constraints, pulling erratic waves into a locked, repeating geometry. Notice how energy expenditure plummets once the wave locks, representing a reduced corrective burden. The predictable pattern takes far less energy to maintain. The universe naturally favors these configurations to conserve energy. Harmony is the most efficient way for matter and information to organize. Separating this theory from speculation requires rigorous testing. The authors developed two primary probes to expose the theory to controlled conditions. The first is Phidias, a computational probe. It was designed to test whether an artificial intelligence would recognize these ratios as a primary way to organize data. The results showed that when neural networks are guided by harmonic ratio structures, their ability to organize and retrieve cross-modal data increases significantly. The machine identifies the ratio as an efficient carrier of organization. The second probe is the harmonic beacon. It translates the math into a physical environment by sustaining precise harmonic fields in acoustic space. Measuring the physiological response to these fields shows a measurable shift toward homeostasis. The human nervous system finds it easier to maintain internal regulation when the surrounding field is mathematically coherent. When the energy cost of basic physiological regulation drops, the system can redirect that bandwidth. In therapeutic trials, this shift allowed participants to access and integrate deep symbolic material that was previously obscured by the noise of high-friction states. These results suggest that harmonic ratios govern the operational efficiency of silicon, flesh, and human thought alike. This research uses a triangulation method. By observing the same results across computational models, physiological sensors, and clinical psychological sessions, researchers can confirm the phenomenon is a scale-invariant law of information. It is important to distinguish this from unrigorous uses of the term harmony. HIT is not a claim about aesthetics or music therapy. It is a description of how systems couple. Relational coherence is a measurable physical constraint. It determines whether a system remains stable or drifts into entropy. By focusing on the math rather than the romance of harmony, we uncover a fundamental law of physical reality. Modern infrastructure is largely blind to these ratios. Our cities and digital networks are designed with almost no regard for the proportional organization of the fields they emit. This oversight creates a constant, unceasing corrective burden. Our biological systems are forced to expend significant energy daily just to filter out the high-friction environments we've built. The next stage of engineering is harmonically aware technology. These are systems designed to align our tools and spaces with mathematical stability, reducing the energetic cost of being in the world. Because humans are relational systems, aligning our infrastructure with the universe's blueprint for efficiency offers a path toward technology that actively supports our biology.